is what happens when you televise live. All rise, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome. Before the start of tonight's regular meeting, the board, with the director of operations and our road manager, went on a road trip. So we looked at numerous roads throughout the township that we'll be working on this year and in 2017. Also, I'd like to welcome Deb Anson, President of Borough Council from Doylestown Borough. Thank you for being here tonight. It's good to see you. And we have a couple presentations before we get started with the regular meeting. Carl Lukens is here from the Government Affairs Committee, but I do believe Karen Sweeney is going to start us off with the presentations. The Community Champion Award to the Doylestown Community Bike and Hike. Congratulations, you guys. Okay, we'll get you in and out.
Thank you. I'm going to read a brief statement for Television Land and on behalf of the Bike Hike Committee.
And who are you?
Karen Sweeney, Director of Parks and Recreation for the Township, but also a member and past officer of PRPS, Pennsylvania Recreation and Park Society. Since its creation in 1992, the Doylestown Bike Hike Committee has worked tirelessly to expand recreation trails, not only in Doylestown Township, but throughout neighboring municipalities. The group fosters a sense of care for parks and recreation through its continued work to bring communities together through the use of outdoor facilities for recreation. The interconnecting trails create long-lasting relationships between multiple townships who are involved with the projects. In its 23 years of service, the committee has grown to include representatives from 7 different borough, township, and county government, as well as private and nonprofit partners, all with the same goal: to connect the parks, schools, and cultural assets in these communities by a comprehensive trail network. This cooperation has yielded several $1 million in community grants to foster the mission of the community and the development of 26 miles worth of interconnecting trails and passages. On behalf of the Pennsylvania Recreation and Park Society, it gives me great pleasure to present the 2016 Community Champion Award to the Doylestown Community Bike Hike Committee.
Will you please introduce this beautiful woman?
Thank you. Thank you. Lynn Goldman, Chairman.
To the microphone, please. To the microphone. To the microphone. You too, Karen. You should know better. Introduce the lady.
This is Lynn Goldman, Chairman of the Bike Hike Committee. Since the inception, I believe.
Yeah,
yes?
It was with Tom Kelso.
Almost 25 years.
Hey, as who was the one who said it takes a village? There can be no better words said about this award than saying it takes a village. If it weren't for Stephanie and Tom and Judy and the township and the borough and Det and the contribution of all the others, we wouldn't be able to do such great work. But always with appreciation, and certainly this is a great award. So thank you very much. It's nice to get old when you can start reaping some of the benefits. Thank you.
Can everybody here on the Bike and Hike Committee please stand up and let us say thank you. Picture? We'll do photos after. Picture? Okay, then Carl Lukens is here from the Government Affairs Committee, and he's also Director of Parks and Rec in Lower Providence. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Did I get you all right there?
Sounds about right. If you want to increase it a little bit, I'll tell my bosses maybe I'll get me a raise. Good evening, all. My name is Carl Lukens. As Barbara said, I'm the Director of Parks and Recreation in Lower Providence Township, but I'm here tonight as the recently past chairman of the Pennsylvania Recreation and Park Society Governmental Affairs Committee. Each year we present 2 awards, one to a state legislator, one to somebody on the local level for outstanding work when it comes to parks and recreation. So on behalf of the PRPS Governmental Affairs Committee and the entire PRPS membership, it's my pleasure to be here tonight to announce the winner of the 2016 PRPS Local Government Award, Barbara Lyons. Chairman of the Doylestown Township Board of Supervisors. Did I get that right?
Yep.
Okay. As Chairman of the Doylestown Township Board of Supervisors and as a private citizen, Ms. Lyons has championed a number of projects that have advanced community recreation and park services in Doylestown Township. Prior to her election to the Board of Supervisors, Ms. Lyons has served for several years on the Doylestown Township Park and Recreation Board. Okay. Where she helped fundraise and advocate for projects such as the Amphitheater in Central Park. As part of her fundraising efforts for Doylestown Township Parks, she chaired the Township Oktoberfest Committee, is currently the chairman of the Township Annual Golf Outing. These efforts have not only raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for your township parks to date, but are important events themselves for community recreation. As a township supervisor, she has constantly supported the Parks and Recreation Department in its goals. Thank you. She was also an important developer of your Parks and Recreation Open Space Plan and Central Park Master Plan. Other important park improvements Ms. Lyons implemented included bocce courts, the Environmental Education Center, and the renovation of the Kids Castle play area, which was named one of the world's most unbelievable playgrounds. And I've been there and I agree. Ms. Lyons has championed the expansion of the Township Bike and Hike Trail System, which now provides crucial linkages to regional and statewide trail systems. She orchestrated Doylestown Township's leadership as part of the No Child Left Inside event, which was a countywide day of play held and organized by Doylestown Township. Most recently, she has been working to promote and fundraise for the Century Trail, a park project specifically for individuals with sensory disorders that are unable to otherwise enjoy park amenities. And at the state level, Ms. Lyons is supporting a reduction of bullying and violence in our parks and public spaces through her appointment to the Joint State Government Commission's Advisory Committee on Violence Prevention. I don't know how you have time for anything else with a committee like that. Outside of her duties to the township, she's also the director, past president of the CB Cares Educational Foundation, a local nonprofit focused on youth development, whose activities include outdoor programs, community service in township parks. Doylestown Township has a much higher quality of life thanks to Ms. Lyons' professional and personal support of community recreation and park services. For those reasons and many others, I'm pleased to present Ms. Lyons with the 2016 PRPS Local Government Award. The plaque I'm going to present her reads 2016 Local Government Award, presented to Barbara N. Lyons, Chairman, Doylestown Township Board of Supervisors, in recognition of the significant support provided to the field of Parks and Recreation, and it's from the PRPS Governmental Affairs Committee. Congratulations on this well-earned award, and thank you for your support to Parks and Recreation in Doylestown and throughout the state.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, your organization. Yeah. Thank you. Well, you know what? I didn't come to Doylestown Township with, with it. It was already built. Now that park was already here, so we had a lot of good things to work with. The Lynn's committee, we did this together. I'm not using it. Ooh. Thank you. I'm honored. I really am totally honored. Thank you very much.
Barbara, can we get a picture with the Bike and Hike Committee and the Board of Supervisors together?
Come on, guys.
Wide angle.
Everybody.
What I was trying to say, this is not done in a vacuum. This is done with a whole lot of people, residents, volunteers, the people here in Doylestown Township. But the bones of the parks were already in place when I got here. So all I did was add the icing on the cake.
We need to switch together.
I got this plaque.
Brian, you guys want to yeah, you guys want to can we get to keep that? Better.
Take note, you people from Chicago. I think we have some bike trails that need to go in down there. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't get through
Like
that.
10 miles of bike trail that have to be
I just give me a minute. I got a different problem now.
Okay, back to regular.
Right.
Back to the mundane.
I'm tired of
Thank you again. I know, it's like it's nice. Beautiful. Carl, thank you, it's beautiful. Very nice. Thank you. Okay, we have now a presentation from Reddy Bucks. Sinclair Salisbury is going to present on the emergency management end of what we do here. Sinclair is our zoning officer.
When did you
also in
start
charge
talking?
of,
This thing is decided to
emergency
restart
management
itself.
and all things that you do with buildings. Mulch,
Can you talk?
anything you
Yeah,
have
I
to do
think,
with mulch. Recycling.
yes, I'll introduce myself, Barbara, while Ed is just starting up the presentation.
Sinclair, I thought that was a good job.
Yes. So I'm the emergency management coordinator amongst several other hats that I wear at Doylestown Township. And basically, we are just going to give a very short presentation, a reminder to everybody in the township of the importance of signing up for the Ready Bucks notification system. This is the emergency notification system that is provided by the county, and we recommend that all our residents sign up. You can access a sign-up link on the township website by going to doylestownpa.org and looking up the emergency management page, which I hope you've all looked at. That gives some useful information, including a link to signing up for Ready Bucks. So if you haven't already checked out the emergency management page, I wish you all would and all sign up. While we're waiting for the short presentation
You
to
might as
show
well
up.
talk to it. This computer's decided to do an update. I'm sorry.
No problem. It was a very short presentation, so I think I
Even
can
shorter now.
make it even shorter and to the point. So if you go to the township website, there's an easy link on the emergency management page to the sign-up page. The idea of signing up is that it gives you a choice of different appliances that you have, your phone, your computer, your email, mobile apps are available. The type of emergency you can sign up for are, the most important is the emergency notification for serious events. You can also do daily events such as traffic, weather, and in fact school alerts. Now we recommend for signing up for the township emergency would just be the emergency and the weather. We don't recommend that you sign up for the traffic alerts because in this part of the world, which is very busy, you'll be alerted the whole time. And we really think the usefulness of Ready Bucks is for really serious emergencies, either very serious weather alerts or the potential in this area is, say, a chemical spill on 611 or something like that, where it would be we consider a real emergency where you may have to evacuate an area. Again, just briefly, if you go to sign up, you can sign up in order of the appliances that you would like to be alerted. Your cell phone probably would be number one. Maybe if you still have a home phone, number two, email. When you get an alert on your device, it will tell you to acknowledge it. And the minute you acknowledge that, it stops sending it to any of your other devices, so you don't get unnecessary alerts. Looks like we've just about got it. We ready? Okay. Thank you, Ed.
Next one.
Okay, so this is just showing you all the various devices that you can sign up for. So we're going to go through this fairly quickly because I've already spoken quite a bit about it. So we've got mobile apps are available. Again, you go to the website, you can download them very easily. There's some QR codes there. This page is a little bit difficult to read here, but it's just showing you how simple it is to log on and give yourself an account. And at any time, you can go in and change the devices that you wish to subscribe to. Here's a list of the type of alerts you can get, and indeed there's more, but we would just recommend for this, our township emergency would be the weather and pure emergencies. There's quiet time features, which means please don't alert me, say, between 10 at night and 6 in the morning. But that will be overridden if there is a really serious emergency. Mobile alerts. Again, very easy to follow. This is an example of what would pop up on your screen, on your phone or computer. The very top line says just acknowledge that you received it, and that stops any more of your devices getting it. Sign up free today, readynotifypa.org. But again, the link is through the township website. So we have been trying to promote this by having it on the website, in the township newsletter, and we will continue to promote it, and we hope that everyone will sign up. Thank you very much.
Sinclair.
Question, Sinclair.
Oh,
Yes.
sorry.
Oh, sure.
Just one quick question. This regards to like Amber Alerts. So when the little
Right.
girl last week at the
Right.
King of Prussia Mall, I got an Amber Alert on my phone,
Right.
and I'm signed up through this, and my husband didn't. Is that part of this? Did that come out
Well-
through this, or was something else?
It's additional.
I'm not sure exactly who sent out that alert, but if you get any type of, where your husband didn't get it, he should...
Both signed up through this, but so I was wondering.
Amber
Right.
Alert's something else.
Okay.
I don't think it comes
Right.
to,
So
and
it's
silver
not-
alerts. But
Okay.
I get Amber and silver alerts. too.
Right.
But
I would recommend that he goes...
AT&T or something, whoever's your provider will give you those if you ask them for them.
Okay.
Right. Also, if there was some glitch, maybe your husband just needs to go back in and double-check his settings to make sure that he receives the alerts.
Okay.
It's a fairly easy website.
This wouldn't do that, so this wouldn't send that kind of stuff out anyway.
I'm not sure who sent those Amber Alerts out.
Could you just talk a little bit about who sends these alerts out that you described here?
All these alerts come through the Bucks County Emergency Management Agency at the 911 center. And one interesting feature here is if you, say, live in Doylestown, you can obviously sign up as a Doylestown resident. And if, say, you work in Northampton Township, you can say, I'm going to get all the Northampton Township alerts and the Doylestown Township alerts, if there are such, if we put them in. So the township has the ability to, if there's some type of serious message they want to get out, we can contact the 911 center, and they will alert all the people that are, signed up with the township. So you do have a lot of flexibility when you sign up on the type of devices, the areas throughout the state that if you work in other areas, you can sign up for those alerts. If your children go to school in another administration, you can get those alerts too. So it's quite a flexible system.
Yeah, the thing I liked about it is it's one system.
Right.
And you select which ones you want to get. So
Correct.
regardless of what township or borough you live in, it's going to manage it exactly the same. So that, like Sinclair said, you can pick and choose if you want different, the borough and the township or whatever. It really is nice to have. So.
But the important thing to realize is you're only going to be provided with emergency information if you go to the trouble of signing up.
Right.
So we, again, would wish that all our residents would sign up for the system.
Thank you, Sinclair.
Okay?
Thanks.
Anybody else? Comments? All right, great job.
Thank you.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
yes, sure.
Are we allowed to, let you know anything that's going on that affects us personally now, or is that something I have to do separately?
This system...
The question.
Yes. You're wanting to know if you were aware of something that was important happening, if it could go out on the system?
If I could say something to you right now that's affecting me, which I would have to talk to you at your office. Can I say it now, or do I have to go to your office?
Oh, I'll see you afterwards if you have, yes, something that's not related, certainly. Yes. It's very important, I'm sure, so that's fine, we'll help you out. Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Thanks.
All right, any visitor or public comment tonight? Nope. All right, moving on then. Announcements. The next meeting of this board is Tuesday, May 3rd at 4 p.m. We're going to have a budget session meeting with the Ways and Means on Tuesday, April 12th at 4 p.m. The Doylestown Township Community Garden Survey is available on our website, doylestownpa.org. Please take a moment to take a look at this and give us your thoughts. The deadline to complete the survey is Friday, April 8th. We're doing the Red Cross Spring Blood Drive is Monday, April 11th, 2 to 7 at the Activity Center. It's the red building behind here. Sign up, go to redcrossblood.org. Our leaf and yard waste for township residents is Saturday, April 16th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Drop your stuff off the New Britain Road entrance to Central Park. Arbor Day tree planting is April 30th, 2016, 9 a.m. at Neiman Park, and we meet at the Silver Maple Farms parking lot off Lower State Road. Environmental Advisory Council Spring Bird Walk is Saturday, April 30th at 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Central Park, Pavilion 1. The cost is $5 per person. Contact the administrative offices, or you can register at doylestownrec.com. Pre-registration is required. Touch a Truck, Saturday, May 7th at Central Park, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It is a free event. Little kids love it. Big kids love it. They're big trucks, and it's a fun time. Home Run Derby is May 12th. That's a Thursday, Turk Baseball Fields. Check in at 4:30 p.m. The Derby starts at 5 until dusk. It's free, but you have to pre-register. It's required. And you can register at doylestownrec.com. Family Fun and Fitness is Saturday, May 15th at Central Park, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. It is a free event. And the Doylestown Township Annual Golf Outing is June 6, 2016 at Doylestown Country Club. Registration deadline is May 15th, and you can register by contacting me or anybody here at the Doylestown Township offices. And just so you know, all the proceeds from our Doylestown, our outing, our golf outing, goes to the park system. All right. Did I get everything? Do you feel like we're in springtime now with all these outdoor activities? I think it's great. Good job, everybody. Minutes approval from the regular meeting of March 15, 2016. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Move to approve. Second that.
Any corrections? No? All in favor of the minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
One abstention.
One abstention. Thank you. Correspondence regarding the noise barrier on Route 611 and Broad Street.
Yes, we received a letter from Mr. Eck on behalf of the Homeowners Association for Sterling Crest Court. They are very interested in seeing a sound barrier along there for their Carriage Hill original development there. It borders 611 and Broad Street. It does not have a sound barrier. There are a number of trees, but it's not blocking it. They did do a survey, and of the 24 homes, they had 18 responses, 17 were in favor, and 1 was against.
What do you recommend, Madam?
I would recommend that we forward this to the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation and allow them to ask them to do a study to see if it warrants a sound barrier.
Thanks. All right. Everyone agree?
Just a question around the amount of traffic. When the letter talks about the traffic has increased significantly over the past couple of years. How do we measure that? Is part of the study, the noise study, can we also do any traffic-related counts?
It's the 611. We wouldn't do that.
It's the PennDOT. We can ask them to evaluate the volume of traffic.
Do we have any traffic studies from before this development was put in to measure it, to say,
we wouldn't. Maybe PennDOT would.
Okay.
All right. Everyone okay with that? Just pass it along to PennDOT? I wouldn't hold my breath. Ms. Goldstein. You putting that in your notes? Don't hold my breath. All right. Dog Park Advisory Board resignations from Scott Tilden and Helen Newman. Is there a motion to accept both of them?
Yes, move to approve.
Okay. To accept. All in favor?
Aye.
One guy is, Scott needs to, he's ill, and then Helen is moving on to other things. Is that correct? She was a founding member. All right. Next item, reports from the solicitor.
Nothing we will not discuss later in the agenda, Madam Chairperson.
Township Engineer.
Staying on the theme of roads, the 2006 road program will be starting next week, weather permitting. Township's going to be redoing 10 roads. The contractor is supposed to give us a schedule, so we will forward that to the township so you can put it on your website so that the residents of those roads know when they should be there. But I believe right now they're thinking of starting at Spring Valley Road.
So for now, we'll put on the roads that are planned for 2016, and then the residents can watch for when their road might come up on the schedule.
Correct.
Okay, sounds good. Anything else?
That's it.
Chief?
Nothing at this time.
Anything else, Manager?
I just want to share with the board that we received the 2016 proposed resolutions, as you will be at the PSATS conference for your next meeting. There will be, our voting delegate is Mr. Snyder, and these will be the resolutions that will be considered by the membership. I would recommend that if anyone has any concerns or discussions, to review them with Mr. Snyder prior to his opportunity to vote on them.
Okay. All right. Is that it? Anything? No further? Supervisors, do you have anything, Sean?
Just another plea for anybody. You've already mentioned about coming out on the 30th with the EAC and doing the spring bird walk for Ray Hendricks, and as well as our tree planting for Earth Day. And if we have enough turnout, enough help, we'll also probably be working in the environmental garden as well, and spring cleanup and plantings. I don't know if the plugs are going to be in yet or not for plantings of new native plants and that, but hopefully it's a good day. But rain or shine, I guess we'll be there. So if anybody wants to join us,
thank you.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Ken, you have anything?
Just to build on that, last Saturday they did do the native garden cleanup, and what was great about it, there was over 20 volunteers there, so
wonderful.
A whole bunch of people came out, so it went really well. And so they are getting it already prepared for the planting happening in April. Also, just wanted to mention, too, you had made it in the announcements about the budget work session. The Ways and Means Committee met 2 weeks ago. They had their previous meeting. We reviewed the preliminary results of 2015, and those were favorable. We came in under budget, so that's good. So the main thing is now we're positioned to get into the details of 2017 budget, and what activities we want them to really focus on in prep for that 2017 budget. So a lot of good work started, and it's going to carry forward starting at that work session. And just want to reinforce what Sinclair talked about. I really would encourage everybody to sign up for emergency management. We really need to get everybody hooked up that we can. This is important stuff, so it's an easy way to get notified when things aren't going the way they should. So please do it.
Yeah, thanks, Ken.
Yeah.
Rick?
Yes, I had 3 committee meetings since the last meeting. One was the Planning Commission meeting, and you'll see on the agenda tonight is the Mulatto lot line change. Mr. Mulatto is in the audience. The other item we talked about for a short period of time was the proposed sign ordinance amendment. That's also on the agenda. I hope everybody had a chance to read it and memorize it. Well, one comment at PSATS. They're going to have a seminar on the sign ordinance. So if you want to really become educated, I'm sure that'll be a great presentation. The other committee I went to was the Public Water and Sewer Advisory Board. Thanks to this board, we reorganized, and it rejuvenated the committee. And you probably saw in the classified ads, there's new dates. We're going to be meeting every month. The time is 5:30 as opposed to 5 o'clock because we needed more time to take care of certain things. So I'm excited and they're excited. It was a very, very lively meeting. And the third committee meeting was the Municipal Authority, DTMA. We also had new leadership there and got off to a robust start. And there's many, many water projects in the pipeline that I'll be bringing here and discussing in the very near future. So it was a good three committee meetings, at least on my part.
Thanks. Okay, thanks. Ryan, you got anything?
No, I last 2 committee meetings fighting the flu, so.
Welcome back.
Yes, thank you.
Glad you're better.
Thank you. So.
All right, on your On your seats, you might have seen a letter that we drafted to Andrew Gilchrist, Regional Advisor, Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. On behalf of Plumstead Township, our colleagues on the board there have asked us to support the Gardenville Fields Park development, which we will do by this letter. So with your authorization, we'll send this out. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. We'll send that letter out, drafted by yours truly. All right. New business, Metro Storage Sketch Plan.
Yes, for the board's edification, Mr. Van Louvenet is here with his client, and they would like to present a sketch plan, which, as you know, is just to listen to the board's reaction, also any public that may have a comment. It relates to the Carosi property, which is located at the intersection of Duane Road and 611. As you know, there's a billboard, and then it slopes down to the balance of the property. And Mr. Van Louvenet, time's yours, as they say.
Thank you, Mr. Garden. John Van Louvenet from East Vernon Gray, Doylestown. I'm representing Metro Storage. You'll hear from Mr. Heilman, the Vice President of Development, in a few minutes to introduce the company. Although we're listed under sketch plans, and we are going to show you a plan, this is a very broad and general introduction to the project. Before you see us again, we will be filing an application with the Zoning Hearing Board. We're still working to identify variances, and as you'll see as we go through our PowerPoint, this is a property that has some challenges. It's a 3.295 acre property. Most of you know it. You know the billboard and you know the front of the property. It's hard for you to see the back of the property. It wraps the Kerrigan service station there and has frontage back, access back onto Duane Road by an easement. There are a number of residential folks back there. Mr. Heilman met first with the township staff last September, if I remember correctly. We got a little bit of direction. It was very early in the process. They were still doing due diligence at that point. We followed that up in January with the cooperation of the staff. We identified all of the property owners who owned property on Duane Road. We rented your meeting room here and invited them all to a meeting at which we made a presentation in very broad form, similar to what we're going to do with you tonight to introduce the project. The project is the nature of the project is to introduce a G15 warehouse use to the property, which would replace Mr. Carosi's landscaping and excavation use of the property, which he's been conducting on this property since 1974, or before that, pursuant to a permit that was issued by a prior generation of township officials. So, with that, I'd like to, we're going to try to move through this quickly, and we're not going to bog you down with a lot of detail about our plan. We'll show you what work we've done, give you the idea of the property. We'll show you what in broad form is proposed and describe it. I think we can probably answer questions, but again, more detail will be presented when we present to the zoning hearing board application after we've identified all of the natural features and finished all the engineering work on the property. Bob, would you mind just introducing yourself and your company, please? Bob,
I think the world should know this is not a garden spot presently.
Well, we're going to show you that. We have some illustrations of that here. I think do we move it?
Okay, I got things going on.
There we go. All right, good.
So I'm Bob Heilman. I'm our Vice President of Development for the company. The company is a family-owned business. Two brothers bought it from Dad back in 1996. Dad started in 1974. Currently, we have right around 100 facilities. We're always acquiring and selling some of the older that we didn't actually develop. But the idea of the company is we build and hold these facilities. So,
and Bob, where's the company headquartered?
Company is headquartered in Lake Forest, Illinois, just north of Chicago, about 30 miles. Okay. So, self-storage is a very low-impact business from both infrastructure, traffic generation. We consider it a calming use, if you will. regarding traffic. The facilities that we have developed in the past, let's see, let's stay on this one. Typically, around 100,000 square feet in various forms, whether single-story, two-story. We have a facility that we're working on in New Jersey that's 5 stories. This facility, as you'll see, is 3 stories at the rear, but up at the front of the property, because of the tiering of the property, will be 1 story. So we'll get into that a little bit later. But I just wanted to introduce what self-storage is. We'll get into more specifics of how we're going to operate the facility later in the presentation, but that's a general introduction. So.
Good. Existing conditions. Jeff suggested that this wasn't a garden spot, but again, you can't see it unless if you've driven back and walked the property. So we took a few photos. That is the billboard. I think Mr. Garten can confirm that billboard is again permitted. There was an agreement reached with some parameters for the billboard use. The billboard is on a leasehold portion of this property. We just took some broad shots. This looks back toward the road. It's hard to see in this light. That looks back toward the gas station and the property across 611. Now we're getting back into the site. This is some of the stuff that you probably can't see very well. Some of you probably, if you've been around as long as I can, remember that there were some greenhouses on this many years ago. And then I think the property was sold by the folks, they were part of the Geerlings family that owned the property way back in time. And I believe they sold it to Mr. Carosi a number of years ago. And just, I won't dwell on any of these, but as I said, this is the existing conditions, at least as of last fall when there were leaves on the trees. This is the, leading into what we're proposing, this is the 1974 certificate of occupancy permitting the use of the property as a landscaping and excavation usage. And that's how it's been used according to township records ever since. I did do a record search here at the township, and I came across a rather thick file of enforcement efforts and that sort of thing, but this apparently is the key document from what I could tell, so that's what we're dealing with. All right. I'm going to introduce Mr. Britz right now. Again, this is very difficult to see here. Eric Britz from Bowler Engineering, and Bowler has been working on the engineering. And Eric can tell you, probably since you can't really see the detail, I'm going to ask Eric to just describe a little bit about the property. Let me highlight something, though, that some of you may or may not know, and you can't see clearly until we get to the site plan, and maybe not even then. There are many nonconformities on this property. There are buildings and partial buildings that are within a couple of feet of property boundaries. There are no firmly established buffer yards there. We'll be working to improve all of those conditions as a part of this project. There will still be variances there because there, again, some of these conditions, for example, there was a lot of fill material put on this property at some point, probably when Easton Road was widened many years ago. So we had a lot of man-made slope conditions. Slopes in Doylestown Township are regulated regardless of whether they're man-made. So we know we have a slope variance. We're still working to identify the extent of it. There is existing encroachment into the riparian corridor. We're trying to identify exactly how much of that exists and exactly what we have to do to clean that up and make the site a usable, buildable site. So there's a lot of detail, and Mr. Britz and his staff have been working pretty hard. And Eric, maybe you could just give us a little summary of what you've been doing and what you've identified, and just describing the property, and we can kind of move through this.
Okay, thanks, John. What you're looking at is an aerial survey. I'm going to skip down to the next page. It's the black and white version. It's a little easier to see. So the site is bounded. On the north, there's the Gulf Station. To the south is Neshaminy Creek. Just below that is the Barn Cinema. It's a 3.3-acre site. It's zoned C1 commercial with the outdoor advertising overlay district applied to it. To the north of the property, again, is the Gulf Station, and a residential property through which there's an easement that connects our property to Duane Road. Both the Gulf Station and the property to the north are both zoned C1 commercial. To the east of the property are residential properties, and they're zoned R1A. To the south of the property is obviously Neshaminy Creek, and beyond that is also the Barn Cinema, zoned C1. Across the street, or across Easton Road, is zoned C2. John gave you a good description of what exists on the site today. There's existing access to Easton Road and also to Duane Avenue through the easement I described earlier.
No application has been made to PennDOT yet, obviously, because we're too preliminary. We have zoning issues to handle first. So there will be issues that we expect when we go into PennDOT and try to improve that existing, essentially a dirt driveway that comes off the property now.
So John went into some of the natural resources. Again, with the lighting, it's tough to see the next slide, so I'm going to skip back to this slide again. There's a lot of steep slopes on this site.
Along the creek, obviously.
They're the natural steep slopes, and then you have about a 10-foot drop coming off of Easton Road that drops into the site.
This is the fill area here that I'm pointing to, and you can see the contours here that where it drops off substantially.
It drops off about 10, 11 feet. There's also a mound in the corner that's also considered steep slopes. The code doesn't get into whether it's man-made or not, but obviously the mound is man-made and this area of fill is man-made. I would say a little over half of the steep slopes on the site are man-made.
And then you can basically see the outline of some of the buildings here. This building comes to within about 2 feet of the property boundary. There are a series of other buildings here along Duane Road. There are homes, and then there are buildings that come very close to the property line, that between the residential buildings, residential properties, and this property. Without a buffer, they're essentially right on the property line. So,
and then we have obviously Neshaminy Creek, and then the riparian corridor district and the floodplain that goes with it. In the proposed condition, this is what we're proposing. We're proposing, this is, I don't know if we mentioned the size of the site. It's a 3.3 acre site.
Yeah, you did. That's good.
We're proposing, the footprint of the building is here in the middle of the site. It's about a 35,000 square foot footprint. It's what you'll see in the front. It's split elevations. What you see in the front is a single story building, and that's split right about this location. And then below that, it's actually a 2-story building, or I'm sorry, let me go back. Above that is a 2-story building, but the first story is underground, so you only see 1 story.
That's the area of the fill, well, out in the front of the site, and that's why the frontage is only one story there, one level.
So as the site drops off in the back, you pick up that second story. In addition, I'm sorry?
The second story is located...
We're going to show you the side elevation in a minute, so you'll be able to get the view, okay?
So this back half is actually a 3-story building, from grade to the top. We're proposing to maintain the access to Easton Road and also maintain the access to Duane Road through the easement, as well as parking, 10 parking stalls. You got 8 parking stalls here and 2 additional parking stalls in the back of the building, on the side of the building, if you will, with just circulation that goes around the building, turnaround area in here that'll be gravel. Beneath the gravel, we're proposing, at the moment, we haven't gone through all the calcs, but we're proposing stormwater management in that area, underground detention basin that would ultimately drain back to the Neshaminy Creek, which is where everything flows today.
Right. And what you can't see probably, but Eric has highlighted in, I'll call it conceptual form, is a landscape buffer Right now, as I said, the buildings come right up to the property lines. There's no buffer at all. We will probably be needing to ask for some relief from the buffering requirement, but we will be providing dense buffering that will shield the residents down there from what we're proposing. We're still working on those details, but we will have a landscape buffer, buffering all the residential property on the, I guess I would call that the east side. Bob, are you the best person probably to describe the building? I hope so, too.
So the elevations we're looking at right here are the top elevation is the east elevation, or as you're coming south on Easton Road. So this would be facing the service station on that corner and that easement road to Dwayne. So as you see, you have the billboard. We have to be below the billboard in the front. So we have a one-story billboard. That's the billboard. We have a one-story building there that has a basement. So in essence, it's a one-story with a basement that then continues out and becomes the grade level floor towards the rear of the building or the left. So in that section of building, we will actually have 3 levels of building there.
Yeah, you can't see it, but there's a dashed line, I think, halfway up in that section.
And you probably can't see it on screen, but at the front, the elevation to the top of the roof is 17'8", and at the rear section, the elevation of the top of the roof is 39'2".
That's from grade down here, right? All the way to the top.
To the top. So the lower...
Excuse me a second. Could you just kind of go over that real quick again, but on that drawing?
Oh, good idea.
Because that's the one that I looked at, and so I...
Okay. So the upper elevation on the screen is this elevation here.
Okay.
The lower elevation on that screen is the Easton Road elevation.
Okay.
So that lower elevation is 1 story. We've divided the materials for the building threefold, basically. It's a masonry base. In this case, it's actually stone at the front, where the 3 sections at the corners and the center are pronounced. And then we have an architectural metal panel that kind of spans in between those elements to break it up. So we do use aluminum framing for the window areas, as well as aluminum awnings at those areas for detail. So it's those 2, I would say.
Yeah, let's go to the next one.
So the other 2 elevations, so the top elevation on the screen is what we're calling Plan West, or what you would see coming north on Easton, so it's what we'll consider the creek side of the building.
Neshaminy Creek side, yeah, exactly.
So that's the creek side.
He's saying move it along.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were saying. Okay.
Okay, so how the building operates, come off of Easton, loading happens inside the building. So the 2 loading bays here are loading bays that you would drive into, close the door, load, unload inside the building. Lower photo is the southern, plan south, or what would be facing
the back,
the residential area.
I think, as Bob said, this is, and we'll be able to support this when we come in with land development, but this is a very, very low traffic generating use. Frankly, it's going to be nice and quiet. It should be a good neighbor for the residential folks back in their area, because we're not going to be generating a lot of traffic. The expectation is, and the hope is, that Easton Road will be the primary access in and out. PennDOT may have something to say about that, but that's certainly our hope and our expectation. And that is basically the presentation. It is a G15 warehouse, is a use permitted by special exception in the C1 zoning district, so we don't believe we have a use issue per se. We think we'll be able to meet the special exception criteria. The variances, as I said, we're still working on them. One of the difficulties there is identifying what's variance and where we have a non-conforming use, and whether we're lessening the extent of non-conformity and how all that's going to play out under the zoning ordinances. So we're still working on those details. So that's why, as we said, Stephanie encouraged us to come in and introduce the project, but we're not to the detailed level of really having a dialogue over sketch plans, preliminary plans, anything along that nature. It's more an introduction. Here we are. And any questions that you want to feed back to us through Stephanie, we'll be happy to respond to.
I understand you've met with the neighbors. You're going to continue to meet with the neighbors and address their
Well, it's continued dialogue. We had a meeting when we invited every neighbor, and we had a good turnout. I forget how many were here, 30, 40 people, probably? Yeah. We had a room full.
Okay, great.
And we'll continue. I have that list, and we will continue to keep them informed. And I know Stephanie sent a notice out tonight to everyone.
Thank you.
I just had,
1 second. 1 second. I'm sorry.
you'll get a chance in a minute. We just,
And you're going to have to go to the microphone.
just for the edification of everyone, you're going to go to the zoning hearing board for impervious surface. Do you have any gauge on what you're talking about as far as what's allowed and what ballpark you're going to be in?
Well, we know how much of the site is impervious. Your ordinance has impervious surface ratio based on net buildable site area. We've got a bunch of natural resources. The site will be less than 50% impervious if you just consider it the way all of us consider it. If you do it under your ordinance, we're going to be substantially higher because we have to take so much of the site out because it's subject to natural resource restrictions. And that's part of the problem. We're trying to work through all of those different calculations now. We're trying to figure out what we have, and we have, as I said, we have the slopes, we have the repairing corridors. So by the time you're finished, you have a very small site that isn't subject to natural resource restrictions, which means that if you develop what's left, you have very close to 100% in theory on impervious surface ratio as defined by the ordinance.
Just didn't want to get too far down the road because I think that's one of the reasons you're here. So if the impervious surface is 40% and you're going to come in asking for 80 or 85, that has a different impact than if you think you can get closer to 40.
I think where we are, by definition, we're probably at 95, would be my guess. I mean, seriously, I mean, it's not that there's a lot of impervious out there today, too, and we're trying to quantify all of that. There's no stormwater management out there on the site today, as I think you know. We know we have to comply with everybody's impervious surface, all the stormwater regulations, and we know we can do that.
I just didn't want you to get far down the road, so the board maybe is
We know everybody is sensitive to impervious surface.
Yes,
It's just,
okay.
But, I do think you have to factor in the nature of the site. You've got a developed site. You've got a lot of these unusual circumstances on this piece of ground. We'll be happy to come back once we have final calculations and show you all that information if you're interested.
Oh, I'd be interested.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right, now this lady had a question. You want to come to the microphone and identify your address and not a telephone number. Your name and address, please.
Hi, I'm Maureen Dalton-Pry. I live on 29 Duane Road. My question was, are you still under contract, or did you actually purchase the property?
Still equitable owner as of today.
Okay. And you have not heard anything back from PennDOT yet as to whether or not if you acquire the property, whether or not you would be able to utilize 611 as opposed to Duane Road as an access to have 48 vehicles every day coming across the street from my driveway.
I think it was vehicle trips, if I remember right, but the answer is no. Correct? Nope. There's been too much work done on the site to try to figure out what we're dealing with to make it a presentation to PennDOT yet. So that has not been done.
We're a little concerned.
Please.
I'm sorry. I'm Kim Arreo. I'm also on 50 Duane Road.
Please talk into the mic.
Sorry.
And your name and your address.
I'm Kim Arreo. I'm on 50 Duane Road. My property actually lines up to where they're going. I'm going to see the three-story back end of it. Yes, the property is a mess. We are all in agreement to that, but I'd rather see a little bit more nature than a building. And our problem is we still on our road let our children ride their bikes and let them play on the road without monitoring them like on top of them. They get that freedom back there. And we're concerned is if they have the rights on Duane Road, they're going to miss that driveway. Most people who come down our block is because they miss something and they have to turn around. And I'm just concerned of all these cars coming down on our properties.
Legitimate concerns. Yep. Stay tuned. So all these things are going to be roughed out in the planning process, okay? Any other concerns or questions?
Stay tuned is right. I think you have the list. You've given the list of your names to the manager, so you'll get notification.
Yep.
something's going to happen there at some point, so you might as well be participating now to get everything, all your concerns addressed and what you would like to see there happen, okay? It's not going to be everything you want, it's not going to be satisfying everything, but, your participation is going to be key, okay? And we're going to encourage you to do that.
I have one more thing. On his drawings, he said we went to the township, his meeting last time, and he said there was only going to be 1 or 2 big doors that open up. Was I wrong? And now
We actually reduced. We had 3, we're down to 2.
it looked like, what, 5?
Well, no, it was on your drawing left. Sorry.
Paul Dinello, 53 Duane Road. In your last meeting, you mentioned, if you look at the rendering, it looks like there's a bunch of outdoor units. In last meeting, you said that was a mistake in the rendering, but they're still up there.
Are they windows or doors?
There's no outdoor units at all.
Again, it looked like it. I'm just saying what the rendering looked like, and we brought it up, and it was a mistake.
Oh, in the back there are some. Yeah, Bob's correct. You're correct. There are some.
But the loading doors were reduced from 3 to 2.
So the question is are we having outside units or not?
Everything is inside. It's climate-controlled interior storage. There is no outdoor storage.
Are those tan rectangles all around the outside that look like doors are actually windows or some sort?
Get the screen back on.
Are those units or not? That's what I
Yes.
They are units, okay.
They got the screen back.
Oh, there we are. Okay.
Well, yes. These are currently exterior access units in the back.
But you just said everything's inside.
It's all interior storage. There's no exterior storage. There's exterior access.
That's not going to happen there.
No, he is saying it's going to happen now.
Right now, we have access to those units from the exterior.
Okay. Is that what's going to be on your final plan, or your plan?
We're still looking at it.
Okay.
So
There's obviously a concern about that.
there is a concern about that, and that sounds different than the last meeting, but there is a concern. So.
Paul, I think the difference was what was happening there was you were asking, is there any outside storage?
Right.
And no, it's all inside storage, but the correct question, is there any outside access?
Correct. Outside access is the question.
That's what's proposed.
And obviously, outside storage would be an issue as well.
I know what you mean, like
Parking
outside.
boats.
That's no outside storage.
Nothing like that.
All right, so function and appearance is key. All right, one more comment, and then we're going to move on from this, because there's so much more work to be done on this project.
Correct.
Okay, just one more, like you said. Obviously, for security reasons, you're going to need lighting. Now, we already have an issue with the billboard, where the billboard lights are supposed to go out at 10 o'clock at night, which does not happen. But what's the lighting issue? Because my bedroom window literally will be right there, across the street from this unit.
I don't know what the question is, but what we typically do on the exterior of the building is we'll have LED full cutoff fixtures, so at the property line there is zero light coming off of the property. And basically what happens when the facility closes down, the lights go off. So
you don't have
now that
security lighting mount?
Let me phrase, it's up to the township if they request that security lighting stays on. In certain townships and areas we work in, or have a facility in, they will request that lighting stays on. So it is sort of up to the township what they feel and how they want to operate it. So typically, it goes off when our facility closes.
At what time?
In this case, access stops at 10 p.m.
All right, folks, thank you very much. Safe travels back to Chicago.
Thank you very much.
Illinois.
The next item is your consideration of the Mulatto lot line change. This is a final plan. It relates to tax parcels 9-22-79-7 and 9-22-80. The applicant proposes to convey a portion of tax parcel 9-22-79-7 to tax parcel 9-22-80. That's intended to realign the lot line. The plans before you were prepared by Holmes Cunningham LLC and were dated February 2, 2016. The Planning Commission, at its meeting on March 28, 2016, recommended final approval subject to certain conditions. I enumerated some conditions, shared them with the engineer, and she says they're fine. I guess the board will need to know whether I can go through the conditions or whether you need a full presentation. Why don't you just, Kristen, just show them where the line's going and where it was, and that should be sufficient. Yes.
Sure. As part of the application, the property owner owns both of these lots, and he's looking to just realign the interior lot line of the two lots to essentially straighten out that interior line. So as you can see on the plan, it's a horizontal line on the plan. It currently, the one parcel is an L-shaped parcel, which is now just becoming two regular shaped parcels. So the existing line comes up vertically. The proposed line is coming straight across to the rear of the property. So they will both be not rectangular, but essentially, long and narrow lots for that homeowner.
If the board was inclined to consider this as a final plan approval, the conditions would be compliance with Boucher and James letter dated March 24, 2016. Next, compliance with the Pickering Courts and Somerset Review letter dated March 9, 2016, and they are asking for certain waivers from Subdivision Ordinance. One is from Section 15324B2, so as not be required to widen Cherry Lane. From Section 15324K, so as not be required to do a half-width improvement and a shoulder along Cherry Lane. From the provisions of 15334B6, requiring a separate landscape conservation plan. Provisions of 153-34C, which would require a survey of individual trees, and provisions of 15320C10, which requires the location of all watercourses, wells, etc., as they provide a USGA map when they submitted the plan. Next condition, the applicant dedicate to the township the additional right-of-way along both parcels to the ultimate right-of-way line. Next, receipt of all permits from the agencies having jurisdiction. Next, applicant to reimburse the township for any and all costs incurred with respect to the application. And lastly, deeds of conveyance and consolidation be recorded contemporaneously with the Mylars. Kristen, do you agree to those conditions?
Yes, we do.
All right, what's the pleasure of the board? Is there a motion to accept this as a final?
I make a motion we approve this plan as a final submission.
Can I ask one question first?
Sure.
Yeah. Why the change? What's the intent?
The homeowner lives on the property to the top of the parcel, and he's essentially looking to straighten out his parcel to extend the rear back to that.
He owns both.
He owns both, and they are separate parcels.
Right.
Squaring it off.
Square up, and he's selling one, I believe.
You are going to sell one? Okay. That's what wasn't clear to me. I assumed it, but I just wasn't clear. Okay.
All right, there's a motion to
second.
approve. There's a second. Any other questions? All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mulatto, good luck, sir. I'm going to move letter H on the agenda up for consideration by the board now. That would be the Vacato proposed resolution regarding the Sterling Act. Is everyone okay with me doing that?
Sure.
Okay. I'm sure you probably know what the Sterling Act is and how it affects tax collection in Doylestown Township and in other municipalities outside of Philadelphia and other first-class cities. So, Vacato, as you know, has asked that the municipalities participate in forming a resolution to form our legislature and our Senate that there would like a change in the Sterling Act to reflect that 1% of the tax that Philadelphia collects comes back to the municipalities, including Doylestown Township. As you know, probably from the newspaper and also from materials that have been provided to you, over $230,000 of monies that would have been in Doylestown Township went to Philadelphia. Now, it's just some parity that I guess the municipalities are trying to seek here with the adoption of these resolutions. Now, for our consideration is a draft of the resolution. And I assume everyone's had a chance to look at it.
Yes.
What's the thought of the board?
I have no problem with the resolution. Just one question as far as what does Representative Quinn and Senator McElhenney feel on this issue? Because if they're stridently opposed to it, maybe a personal visit to their office would have more import than the resolution. But
I think you do both.
we can set up a meeting.
And I'm sure they're anticipating action by all the municipalities on this resolution.
Then I'm in favor of the resolution and setting up a meeting with each.
Can we have them come to the meeting that's going to be held in May? Isn't there a Sterling Act meeting at the country club?
Yeah. Me too. Yeah, in fact, I think they were invited to it.
Were they? Okay.
So, yeah, there is a Cato sponsored meeting on May 5th at Doylestown Country Club on this issue, so we'll make sure that they are extended an invitation. What time is that? Noon? No, 4 o'clock.
Evening.
I don't recall.
5 to 7 or something.
Okay. All right, so...
So I make that motion, Stephanie will take care of the details.
All right, is there a second to the motion?
Yep.
All right, and call the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I think it's an unanimous decision. You are free to go, Chris.
Thank you.
All right, back to the
That's why
agenda.
we moved it up.
We moved it up because this young man has to get to Salisbury. Proposed sign ordinance amendment.
An authorization to advertise is what's being requested for a public hearing. I believe it's been vetted at the Planning Commission for a good long time.
All right, what should we do here?
I mean, we're in favor of advertising, and I think that's what Mr. Garten is getting towards, is that we want to advertise this so the public can get comment, and then hopefully we can approve it with minor adjustments.
That would be wonderful.
Okay. You want to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Do you want to speak to it or anything?
If you'd like me to, I can. If
Please.
not,
I mean,
Don't snatch defeat in the jaws of
well,
victory.
that's why I was just said.
All right. Reader's Digest.
It's good, it's comprehensive, it's concise, it's user-friendly, and it should work.
There
Great.
you go.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
maybe, since it is
Perfect.
being televised, maybe you could just give some of the significant changes.
Fellow board members when they were trying to-
I know, but we're not the only ones that know about it. Somehow we have to educate
I can give it-
residents.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Significant changes include a full restructuring of the ordinance so that it is clear when you look at a parcel and you see what zoning district it's in, you can go to that zoning district within the sign ordinance and see a chart and then have the variety of uses and temporary and permanent signs for each category of use and see what your size parameters are and what you can do. And it's all clearly defined right now. That's really it. That took a year and a half.
Well, I think the issue was the content-based of the sign. I think that was one of the germane issues that
Yeah, we also addressed some newer findings by the Supreme Court.
Speaking of signs, can you look into, or have our zoning officer look into the turn-off time on that billboard?
Yes,
You know that, right? Yeah. All right.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you,
Good.
Judy.
Thank
Judy.
you.
Good work as always.
Yes.
Yeah,
The
they did.
committee on that, yep. Yeah,
No,
the
Boucher
planning
and James did a lot of work, too. And the Planning Commission, too, but that was not something easy to pull together at all.
It's a real partnership. Thank you very much. Thanks to the Planning Commission. Okay, guide rail bid for 2016. You have a memo from Paul Gar. Oh, no, sorry, from Dick John. Paul Gar is copied on it. Is there a motion to approve the 6 bids for guide rail repairs and replacements, starting with Long Fence Company?
Yes, I'd like to make that motion that we approve that.
Down to
second.
Bill Orr. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And then we have the zoning hearing board application, zoning application of Dimino, 11 Woodview Drive.
Right. They're seeking a variance there for the shed. I would recommend that we leave that matter to the zoning hearing board.
Okay. Next item, equipment to be sent to auction. I missed that. Let's go back.
It's the 1996 John Deere.
Love that one.
You can bid at the auction. Yeah.
Feel free.
Okay, is there a motion to send it on?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Goodbye, John Deere. And then the Eagle Scout proclamation of Broderick K. Johnston from Troop 71. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
And anyone can go to that one? May 1st, to read the Eagle Scout proclamation? Well, let me know if you're available, anyone. Okay, that, wait. We did the Cato bills list for April 5th, 2016. Oh, right, G. Skipped over G altogether. Thank you for keeping me legal again. Proposed amphitheater improvements. We all have our little thing here.
I'm hearing the board's right on the other side there.
Okay.
Thank you for giving us the shot. Paul is here, Paul Danello with the Park and Recreation Board. This was fully discussed at the Park and Recreation Board, worked with Rick Shea, our facilities manager, worked with pricing, trying to do what we consider to be essential relative to moving forward with the level of performances that we are beginning to undertake and hope to add in the future. Also, primary to this is, I don't want to hit anybody in the eye with this.
Do you want to use mine? It's really...
There we go. Can you get that far?
Okay. I'm kidding.
Can you get that far from over here? Primaries, as you know, we have a naming sponsor for the series in the amount of $10,000. Recognition to that would be, this is the logo presented by Thompson, so this is now officially the Performing Arts logo going forward, at least for 3 years. The intent is on the side. This is the side facing the parking lot. This is the scale on here. It's not great. I doubt that it would be that large. This would be a standard message board that we already use in the park, topped by a sign recognizing Thompson. It's the only thing that they have specifically asked for as a main sponsor. So we need to consider that seriously. The other thing, as you know, anytime working with sponsorships, recognition is paramount. The minute you secure a sponsorship, you're also positioning for future sponsorships, and we never want to let our sponsors down. For those that have been to the concerts in the past, we run a piece of paper, probably 2x4, and slap everybody on there. Works, but it's not really all that professional. Our proposal is to place a backer board on the side. This would, if you're facing the amphitheater, it would be right here and right here, the two storage areas. There's a backer board that allows us to put different size sponsor recognition plaques onto the backer board. It would be magnetic, so we can put them up, take them down. All of these sponsors have been in place for most of the years that I've been here. So these are longtime sponsors. Well, we may add a couple. Our initial expense would be up front, but I think if we have any add-ons, they would be new sponsors. The minimum amount to go on the board would be a $1,000 sponsor. So if you're in at the 500 range, we would be encouraging you to up that sponsorship to get on the board. The overall cost for the signage, you can see right here, this Thompson board comes in at $425. The backer boards and the sponsor boards $2150. Most of this would be a one-time expense with the occasional update of sponsors, and if I have to update sponsors and can fill that board over the next few years, I have no complaints there. Second, paramount often to contract riders with the performers is an area to change, get set up, put their things, it's known as the green room. That would be this storage area right here. It's roughly a 9x20 space. We're proposing to take it from inside press board, you see on these pictures right here, and upgrading at these, basically these are builder grade Home Depot, Lowe's type of fixtures, similar to what you would see in the kitchen in the center area. So it's not elaborate, it's not intended to be elaborate, but to provide a space where we can have ample storage for anything we need going forward to a concert, and that the performers can get changed and get comfortable during those green room times. Also, in the event that we do have rentals, we could make those spaces available. You can see that that is coming in at $2,500. All of these are really relatively inexpensive costs. The last thing that I'm proposing, we do have, and we've looked at Rick specifically, who has had some experience in sound equipment and working with sound equipment, and for many years was our sound tech out in the performances. We looked at our existing equipment, and the only thing that we're recommending going forward is to upgrade and supplement with the board, and all of the other equipment, sound equipment, would remain intact that we have, be cleaned up and be ready to use. And that comes in at about $4,000 with a total improvement package. These are just, she's signing her later. Total improvement package coming in at $9,075. We've done extensive work to try to get these prices as low as possible. There is more than ample funds in the Performing Arts Fund at this point. These, we would ask for consideration for us to go forward with these now, as the season is coming up, and we want to do justice to our performers and to the sponsors. This amount in total covers all of the projects that we're looking at, and is actually less than 1 year's contribution from Covenant, so which came in at 13.8, or roughly 13.7, 13.6 for this year. So we're not asking for it to do anything extensive, but we do want to honor our performers and sponsorships going forward, and also begin to use it as marketing for the future. As I said, the Park and Rec Board did fully discuss this, and was a unanimous recommendation to move forward with presenting this and requesting this of you tonight.
Okay, I'm good.
So I just want to make sure it's clear. This is funds that are coming out of the Performing Arts Fund. So you have these funds
These funds are
to you.
available now, completely separate from anything that has been raised towards this year. Covenant has been kept completely separate.
Right.
Anything that has been raised towards this year, from January to March, we are now $125 from our goal fundraising amount. So all of those funds are available.
Okay.
Is there a motion to approve?
So I'll make that motion.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good job. And the first Sound of Summer Series concert is May 27th with the Y2C CV Cares Kids. Cool. All right, bills list for April 5th, 2016. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Your second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, announcements. We're next meeting May 3rd at 4 p.m. Budget work session is Tuesday, April 12th at 4 p.m. Doylestown Community Garden Survey is finished this Friday, April 8th, so register on doylestownpa.org your thoughts. Red Cross Spring Blood Drive is Monday, April 11th, 2 to 7, the Activity Center. You sign up at redcrossblood.org. Township Leaf and Yard Waste Collection, Saturday, April 16th, 9 to 11, New Britain Road entrance to Central Park. Arbor Day tree planting, April 30th, 9 a.m. at Neiman Park, and you meet at the Silver Maple Farms parking lot off Lower State Road. Environmental Advisory Council Spring Bird Walk is Saturday, April 30th, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. at Central Park. Pavilion number 1 is where you meet. It costs $5 per person, and you have to pre-register at doylestownrec.com. Touch a Truck, Saturday, May 7th, 10 to 1. It's free. It's at Central Park. Did I say that? And the Home Run Derby is Thursday, May 12th. Turf baseball fields, check in at 4:30. The Derby's at 5. It goes on till dusk. It's free, but you have to pre-register. Family Fun and Fitness is Saturday, May 15th. Central Park, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. It is free. And then finally, the Doylestown Township Annual Golf Outing is June 6th at Doylestown Country Club. Registration deadline is May 15th. Everyone should come. It is a fun thing, and all proceeds go to the park system. Thank you very much, everybody. Good work.
Thank you.
We are adjourned.